Well, good morning everyone. It's the 2nd of June, Saturday in 2012, and I'm making some more beer. And today I'm making Caledonian 80 shilling. Now, all the recipes that, or most of the recipes that I make are from this book called British Real Ale by a guy called Graham Wheeler. Now, you can get this from the Camera website. It's a very good beer. It's got about, what it says here, 100 recipes. So this is my day mapped out. Here we go, we've got the malt in the mash tun, and it's got about another sort of 20 minutes to go before it's finished steeping, and I'm just waiting for the sparging water to cool down. Well, I've just taken the lid off the mash tun, and you can almost smell the malty goodness here. Fantastic, look at that. This is the malt. It's been soaking in water for an hour and a half. So the next stage now is to wash the sugar from the malt into the bucket down here using this water, which is now just under 80 degrees C. So this will probably take me another sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so to wash it all through. Now when you start the sparging, before you start the sparging I should say, you've obviously still got some water in the mash tun, and what I normally do is I draw off the first bit into a separate container, because you'll see that the first bit will be pretty cloudy, and you really want that sediment that's captured in this fluid to be retained in the malt. You don't really want it to go into the beer, so I'll let it run off, and what I'll do then is let me just show you what I normally do. You can see how cloudy that is. It's pretty manky, so I just basically pour that back into the top of the mash tun very carefully, and the malt itself acts as a sort of filter bed, and it captures the particles of sediment and stops them from draining through into your bucket. So let's do this again, and the idea then is that we want this malt extract to run reasonably clear when it's sparging. Well, I'm happy that this is running reasonably clear now. It doesn't look clear, but it's just coloured up by the colour of the chocolate malt that went into this particular beer. So this is the first bit. This is the water that was obviously in the mash tun just to soak the malt to start with. So I haven't started sparging just yet. Okay, this is the proper sparging stage started, and this water is still fairly warm, even though it's cooled to less than 80 degrees C. So you have to hold this fairly gingerly. And what I'm doing is basically playing the sparging water, basically just rinsing the sugar from the malt through into the bucket down here. And this has got to drain most of this container. So what normally happens is this fills right up, and then I get a few bottles and fill those up as well. And the reason I do that is that even though this is enough for the beer making, when you're boiling the hops back in the boiler, you lose quite a volume of extract through evaporation. So it's good to have some spare extract to top up the boiler as it's boiling, because remember it's boiling for about an hour and a half, so you do lose quite a lot through evaporation. Good to have that little bit extra. So I should carry on sparging. So what I normally do just to stop my fingers from getting burnt, which is too hot, I can just move this around various parts of the mash tun. As long as you don't get a kink in the pipe, you're okay. There we go, this is nearly filled up now, and you can see, even though the extract's looking pretty colourless, there's still sugar in there. So I'm going to collect as much of this as I possibly can. Okay, what I'm doing now is transferring the malt extract from the bucket back into the boiler. Now, one thing to remember is that, yes, everything should be clean, but don't worry about things being too sterilised at this point, because basically the malt extract is going to be boiled again, so that will sterilise everything, so you're okay just dumping in containers like this that aren't, 100% sterilised, because they're going to be perfectly fine. The extract will be, this is a clean container obviously, but it will be sterilised by the boiling action. So here we go, I'm going to be adding in to the boiler. Here we go, the malt extract is in my trusty boiler. You can hear it's starting to work. Look at that. That'll be beer one day. This is my attempt to try and capture the last remaining bit of malt extract. This is the spent malt. There's still a little bit of liquid in there, so I'll just let it drain out. So who knows, that might come in handy later. Get yourself a couple of decent thermometers when you're brewing. Here we go, this is one of my thermometers. I'm just going to check the temperature of the boiling malt extract. Let's see where have we got to. I'll drop my phone in the beer, that wouldn't be very clever. So we're getting up to 90. It's getting there. 92, not far then before it's boiling. Yep, we're just about 94 degrees, so hopefully another 10 minutes and we should be there. Right, I'm ready, it's at temperature. I'm ready to add the hops, and what have I got here? I've got some Fuggle hops. Oh, cracky, that's fantastic. I've got some Goldings hops. Oh, absolutely amazing pungent smell these things have. As you can see, I like to keep them in these kilner jars, and I've got my little scale ready, and I initially want 34 grams of Fuggle hops, so I'm going to weigh out and I'm going to add them to the boiler. Look at that, that's a bowlful, that's only 30 grams. Here we go, I've added the hops and I'm just going to give them a gentle stir into the beer. Like that, and hopefully then this will give at this initial stage, you're adding hops at the beginning of the boil. This gives the bitterness to the beer. So it needs to boil up with the hops for an hour and a half, and in the last 10 minutes of the boil I'll add some more of the Goldings hops to give it some flavour and aroma to the beer. This is my favourite stage, I'll keep saying it. This is the magic of beer making, with the hops infused into the malt extract. Fantastic. It's alchemy, turning this stuff into proper beer. Okay, I'm down to the last 20 minutes of the boil now, and I've just added my copper cooler, so it's just in there in the last 20 minutes, so the copper coil itself will get sterilised, and this is obviously going to be connected up to my outside tap, and this is pretty good because it helps cool down the liquid very quickly, which is what you want, otherwise you'd be hours and hours waiting for this stuff to cool down. So, I've turned on my little heat exchanger. The water is running through this pipe here, through the coil, then out through here, and you can feel how warm this is. So the water's coming out here, and you get some nice warm water coming out the end there. And in fact, I can feel it's already starting to cool down. Very clever. So within 5 minutes, or less than 5 minutes of turning on the my little heat exchanger, The temperature is already down to less than 75 degrees, so it's working pretty quickly. It's a very satisfying sight. Just emptying out the boiler and putting the proto beer into my bucket. I think it's called wort at this stage. Well, it's not a very nice word particularly, I don't like it. There we go, all finished.